All right, so this is the top 5 poets, my list. So the first one, number 5, Emily Dickinson. She's an American poet. She was born in 1830, died 1886. Her famous poem, or at least one of them, was "Hope is the Thing with Feathers." Hope in quotes. And the whole thing in quotes. Profoundly influenced 20th century poetry. So she is talked about and discussed to this day among scholars, and she's just like a household name for one of the best female poets ever. All right, let's go to number 4. Dante. I'm not even going to try to pronounce that last name. His full legal name was even more difficult to say for me than that. But he's an Italian poet from 1265 to 1321. That was his lifespan. He was a poet for probably less than that, because he wasn't doing poetry when he was 0. Famous poems, The Divine Comedy and Dante's Inferno. I think he was equally known for both, although The Divine Comedy was said to have marked the endpoint of the Middle Ages. So, if you mark the endpoint of the Middle Ages, you pretty much are a seminal figure in all of poetry and literature. So let's go to number 3. Johann Wolfgang von Goethe, or Goethe. That name I can kind of say. He was a German writer and statesman. He was born in 1749, died 1832. His famous poem was Wanderer's Night Song, which is probably not too known, and he's probably not too known by Americans, but he's Germany's greatest literary figure, in my opinion. He also had an IQ over 200, if that matters to you. Homer's number 2. Everybody knows him. You probably had him in your classes in high school and or college. I doubt middle school, because it's pretty tough stuff. He was a Greek poet between the 12th and 8th centuries BC. He was living. Nobody really knows, I guess, anything better than that, or at least my internet search doesn't. Famous poems, the Iliad and the Odyssey. So these were amazing poems, long, epic poems, and he was the central figure in ancient Greek literature. So, pretty big. I mean, the only person who perhaps is better is, of course, who could have guessed it? William Shakespeare, English poet and playwright. 1564 to 1616. Famous poem, Sonnet 18. Shall I compare thee to a summer's day? It's kind of like number 1 there. And he's said to be England's national poet, and he's basically the most well-known literary figure ever. So that's why I have him at number 1. It might seem overrated, but to be honest, I mean, he is the best, and I'd like to hear a reason why he's not. Just one reason why he's not. And he's number 1. So there you go. So those are my 5. I mean, you could list, a billion, and you could write those down. But those are my 5. So thank you for watching, and please like and subscribe.